Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Indie Comics Review. This is the show where every week I review 3 indie comic books. If that is of interest to you, be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. And I not only love reading indie comics, but I have self-published several indie comics of my own. You can find them on my Alternative City shop, which has a link down below this video. There you find, along with my comics, t-shirts, stickers, pens, and magnets, and these things that I call CBOs, or comic book originals, which are buttons, magnets, and pocket mirrors that I make from superhero comic books. These are one-of-a-kind items made from images cut directly from comic books, not photocopies, so each one is unique. So let's get started with the first book, which is Killchella #1. It is written by Mario Candelaria, art by Serge Acuna, and it is from Scout Comics. A group of friends drive up from Los Angeles to attend an ultra-trendy music festival in the Coachella Valley Desert. They soon face a bloody night of terror when a reclusive pop star making her big return after 5 years recruits her most fanatical devotees to assist in a massive human sacrifice ritual. The long-awaited arrival of Killchella is finally here. It seems like it's been like maybe 2 or 3 months late, but it's finally here. So this is a story about Killchella. Killchella is loosely based on the Coachella Music Festival, obviously. Maybe they have to change a few words in the description there to avoid legal action. But anyway, in this group that drove up from LA, everyone seems to be a little bit famous in some way. Like there maybe a lot of them are YouTube stars, some of them may be influencers or something like that. Among them, there's these 2 guys that are wrestlers. They seem like they're like maybe like the Paul brothers or that kind of a thing. There's this one girl who's maybe she's a model as well as an influencer, and the rest of the folks are just kind of like, they seem just like typical social media using young people who just are obsessed with themselves and always posting selfies and that kind of stuff. This really resembles in many ways your typical slasher film. We're being set up with all these teenagers, none of them really distinguished from each other. Just a question of who's going to be the last one standing. And that's part of the problem with the book, is that at least as I'm concerned, there's no one that you really are rooting for. There's just all these very selfish people. They're kind of nondescript. So it's hard to root for anyone. So you get to the point where you're thinking this is probably just going to be like your basic slasher movie. But then there's some elements that I like about it. The art is good, and the premise is a really good premise as well. The mass sacrifice at Coachella. There's so much that can be done with that. That's what really got me drawn to this book in the first place, is that whole concept. And the question is, how are they going to execute it? Based on the first issue, and first issues go, everything can't be revealed. Sometimes there's a big reveal at the end. There's no real big reveal here. There's a couple of killings, but you don't really know what's going to happen as far as that goes. And you don't really know who the bad guy is. You don't really know who this pop star is that's conducting this whole mass sacrifice. So you might want to stick around for that. You might not. Some folks might not. I'll probably stick around just to see, because I've been waiting so long for this book. I'm just time invested in waiting for Killchella. On our Wednesday previews, we've been talking about this book for so long, and it just wouldn't come out. And it finally just came out a couple of weeks ago, so praise be. As far as picking up a second issue, I probably will. But there's some folks who probably think that this is just your basic slasher film and may just leave it at that. But I gotta stick around to see at least one more issue to see what this villain is, who she is, and why she's doing this. If there's a good story with that, then this won't be your typical slasher. Otherwise, this could be just a run-of-the-mill book. Let's hope not. The next book is Nobody's Girls #1. It's written by Damian Connolly and with art by Matthias San Juan, and it is from Sumerian Comics. From the creator of You Promised Me Darkness, Emmett lives a very normal life until he finds a strange video that leads him on a peculiar search for a missing girl. A story about sex, violence, loneliness, and disappointment. As it says in the description, Emmett is just a normal guy. He's a high school teacher. By normal, I mean like get flaws and good things about him like everyone else. He's I think he's divorced from his wife, because there's a scene where he's talking to someone on the phone and it seems like she won't give him visitation for his kids. He loves to watch porn. It's one of his favorite things to do. He may be a little bit racist. So he's, from that aspect, he's a normal guy. One day he's partaking in one of his favorite pastimes, which is watching pornography. And this must be back in the days when there were still video stores. I'm assuming it's maybe 90s or something like that, judging by the fact that they're watching videotapes and there's like older cars in the drawings. But anyway, he rents one of these tapes and he's at home, doing his thing, watching the tape, and there's like this message from this missing girl in there, and then it just cuts away back to the video. He goes back to the video shop where it's like these two people in there practically having sex behind the counter. And they look at him like, hey, can't you see we're practically having sex behind the counter here? You're disturbing us. And they just pretty much are of no help to him. He tells them about it and they just pretty much are of no use. So he decides that, what, I'm going to just solve this case on my own. And he sets out to do so. And he receives some help along the way from this other girl who knew the missing girl from her past. So they become this unlikely duo trying to solve this mystery. Man, I think Nobody's Girls could be my favorite book of the week. I was not expecting anything from it when I picked it up, just doing my usual Sumerian comics support thing, picking one up to see what it was about. And I was surprised at how good this was. This is so very different from You Promised Me Darkness, from the same author. Connolly did not use his own art. He did a couple covers. He did a cover for this book, but it is drawn by someone else. But even still, the mood and the style of this book is so completely different from You Promised Me Darkness. Don't let the fact that you didn't like You Promised Me Darkness keep you away from this book, because this one stands on its own and it's a completely different subject and it has a completely different pacing, and it's just completely different than You Promised Me Darkness. That just shows how versatile that Damian Connolly is. Yeah, man, I would absolutely pick up the next issue of this book. This is a dark subject. This is something that may be triggering for some people, I would imagine, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Just because you are made uncomfortable sometimes, that's okay. You need to step outside your comfort zone in some cases. And this book, it's not, at least not yet. It's not brutal. It's not violent, but it's probably going to be touching on some very brutal, possibly brutal and unsavory subjects as it delves into what happened to this young lady. So yeah, Nobody's Girls is absolutely going to be on my full list coming up and going forward. So yeah, I like it. The last book is Rogue State #1. It's written by Matteo Pozzolo and drawn by Ramon Villalobos, and it is from Black Mass Comics. What if a contested presidential election plunged America into turmoil? What if political violence consumed the streets? And what if a raging Supreme Court, in a strict interpretation of the Second Amendment, legitimized and deputized all militias, transforming the entire country into a paramilitary police state? What if a freedom fighter emerged from the chaos, raised a civilian army, and carved out a territory across the United States, pushing out police, militias, and National Guard, enforcing its own laws? Sovereign. What if Americans refused to be governed? In this speculative fiction comic book series ripped from tomorrow's headlines, a mysterious figure named Via of Bright Stars will rise from the streets. But is she a freedom fighter or a terrorist? Either way, her rogue state will not just blaze a path across America, it will also inspire others to raise their own armies, some in solidarity, others in opposition. Rogue State was another comic that I was waiting so very long for. Oh my God, this was delayed almost as long as Coachella. And I was really surprised at how great this looked. The cover is, it's a pretty cool cover, but then just the size of it all, it's just magazine size. I was not expecting this. In the solicitation and the previews, it didn't look like it was going to be this big. So I was just, whoa, just kind of like, I was doing my unboxing. I was kind of like blown away. Like, this looks really cool. It's really nice. I ended up ordering the C cover, which is by Sue Lee, and then I think I also ordered the Chuck D cover, which is like a mural but that he drew himself on there. So I got those two coming. But anyway, the story of Rogue State is really such a great concept, just much like Killchella. I really hope that they're able to execute on this concept of this America that just refuses to be governed. I mean, this is just ripped so much from the headlines. It's just almost should write itself. If you mess this up, man, this is going to be a big disappointment. So, to that end, the first part of this book is it takes like about maybe 10 pages for this one character who's this vigilante person, who this person is both supposed to rise above it all to start the Rogue State, to climb this building. And there's this whole episode where she's climbing this building and she's talking to this guy in the window, and then people are shooting at her, and it's like the scene just goes on way too long for me as far as that goes. So that was a thing that kind of set alarm bells off a little bit for me there. Then they move on to give a little bit more backstory. They talk about what happened 9 months before this incident and what, I guess, motivated this person to become the vigilante that she is today. Given that backstory is what consumes the rest of the book. There is, you get some idea what's going on. Everyone's been deputized as far as militias goes. There are these Proud Boy-like vigilantes just wreaking terror in the streets, and who have the blessings of the police department. So they're just kind of like, it's just chaos out in the streets. How it got that way is just being revealed. They don't fully go into it at the end of the book, but we start to see the beginning of an incident that probably started, I guess, at least inspired this person to become the vigilante. Now, the gripe I have with this book, it is just way too jokey. I'm all for it. I'm not a person who is against whimsy and mirth at all. I love me some whimsy and some mirth. But oh my God, it's just like dude is he just empties his joke box in the first book, and he just like, dude, it's just joke after joke after joke. I mean, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, called in and said, "Hey, dude, you're way too jokey." Even for me, it's just way too much whimsy for a subject like this. I think. I mean, throwing it in here and there is okay, but when you just like do too many jokes on a subject this serious, it just becomes kind of cringeworthy. So I hope that this is not going to be something that's going forward, that going forward is going to be the norm. I hope he got all out of his system. I hope his joke book is empty by issue number 2. Otherwise, it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be a letdown, because I really want this book to be good, but if it's not good, it's not good. The concept is great, and I'm going to give it another issue or so to see what's going to happen as far as that goes. And with these books coming out, sometimes they take a few months to come out. Sometimes they'll come out on time. But the first 2 issues of these books were so delayed. Hopefully they get it straightened out as far as that goes before the next issues come out. I hope somebody, and I hope the author, oh God, man, I hope he just like it got out of his system as far as those puns. It's just too much. It's just too much. And the artist is not a problem. The art is fine. I don't mind that. I love the presentation of the book, the way it looks, the concept. So the writing should be the only thing that I'm concerned about. If they don't get to this problem with a viable solution and with some degree of seriousness of this thing, because this is just too real almost in some ways. So I know you want to seem clever. Nothing wrong with being clever. Nothing wrong with having a few jokes. But it just really kind of, and I don't think I'm the only person that it kind of wore on with this. Maybe they could have used an editor a little bit more strict editing on the script as far as that goes. Maybe, perish the thought, maybe this is the edited version. I hope not. But that said, I would definitely be looking for number 2 to see if it can redeem itself, because the concept to me is just so dope. It'd be a shame to just waste it. So, man, that's all I got for this Indie Comics review. If you have not done so already, don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on so you know when I'm making another video. So until next week, I'll see you guys in the funny papers. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.